I promise I'm not going to be long-winded tonight, because the most important information you're going to hear tonight is going to come from our guest speakers. And I'm so excited for them to be here, for you to hear firsthand what their involvement is in Clifton Forge. And I'll tell you a little bit more about them in just a minute. So I'm just going to cover a few basic things and let them cover some of the big stuff. I am going to cover one of the big items. So, one of the biggest points of contention I've heard this past month and the last few weeks is Columbia Gas and up on the heights. They have made a mess. They have destroyed the streets, the roadways, people's driveways, people's yards, and with very little notification. Chris Keyser and myself met with representatives of Columbia Gas last Thursday. In their words, their direct quote is, "Our communication process is garbage." Their words, not mine. And I tended to agree with them on that. But they did promise us that they had sent a notice of work to every customer they had on their mailing list. So if you are a Columbia Gas customer, you should have got notification of the work that they were doing. If you're some of the few folks in Clifton Forge that don't have natural gas, then you would not have been notified. So we've entered into an agreement with them. They do have a franchise agreement with the town that was dated in 1992 that gives them the right to open the streets, use the streets, public land and public right-of-ways for the transmission of natural gas in Clifton Forge. But it also requires that they replace the pavement and repair the property that they damaged, in the words of the franchise, as close as possible to the condition that it was before they dug it up. We have a little bit higher standards than that. And we have we've entered into an agreement, they have agreed to, they normally do a 1-foot paving patch on each side of their cut. On the big roads, they're going to do a 1 whole paver width, which is 12 feet, so that there won't be that ripple effect in the streets. Individual driveways and sidewalks and things are going to be addressed on a 1-by-1 basis. They have agreed to meet with us at least quarterly of progress and things that are coming up in town. The Ingle Street project is slated to continue for the next 6 to 7 weeks before they complete that. Once they complete the installation of the service lines, their restoration crew has to come in and they do the paving and restoring of the property. They anticipate that to be mid to late summer before they get here. They do have another project slated to start in Clifton Forge late summer, early fall. Reality will probably be late fall, early winter. It's on Vulcan Street. We already have our first informational meeting with them about that project scheduled for June 8th. They have agreed to provide us up-to-date media releases for upcoming projects, projected start dates, areas impacted, projected completion dates, which we will air on all social media access that we have, and put it in the paper so everybody can be notified. We're trying to improve the notification process and help folks know what's going to be impacting their neighborhoods. We are working on that. So if you have problems, things that we may not know about, damage to your driveways, damage to your alleyways, damage to your personal property, let us know, because we can't see everything all the time. So let us know what we need to put on our list to ask them and make them repair. The second thing is the Century Trail that we've been talking about for several months is coming along really, really nicely. They're ready to start installing features down there. They're going to start that this week. They put the new kiosk up at the entrance to the trail, and some benches that are made of white oak logs harvested off of our property up on the mountain. So more of that's going to happen. The community garden is shaping up. We've already rented our first raised bid for the season, got the check and reservations made. Construction on those bids are going to start next week, Mac, I think is right. Yes. Mac's going to help with that. So we plan to have at least 10 bids available for folks to use this season. And as lumber permits and more people want to use them, we'll just build more bids and keep going with it. That's all going well, and all of that project thus far has been completely funded by gift money, donations from private individuals. The All Abilities Park that we've been talking about, we'll kind of put that on hold just a little bit. Based on the input that we received from the public informational meeting that we had in this very room a month or so ago with the Thrasher Group, and input from the community, before we go ahead and move forward with that, we're going to enter into a contract with the Thrasher Group, and we'll start this next week. We're going to do a park equity study of all of the parks in the town. Take a look at all the equipment, the condition of the parks, have it prioritized as to what needs to be repaired and replaced in what parks. We're going to work really closely with the Friends of Washington Park on that. We want to meet with them on an individual basis when Thrasher is in town, if you will meet with us. Other community leaders that are interested in the parks. We're not saying we're not going to do the All Abilities Park. We're still planning to do that. We're moving full force with it. Courtney's doing an amazing job. We're just going to take a bigger look at the overall picture of the parks that we offer for our citizens and the Highlands to come to Clifton Forge and utilize. And that all came about in direct response to input we received from people in the community. So we are listening, and we're trying to respond and give you what you're asking us to give you. So we're working on that. Let's see. Recycling. You know, we changed up on how we did the recycling about 6 or 7 months ago. We went from the gable top trailers up behind Matthews Park to the compactor at the town yard, the public works yard. When we were doing the gable top trailers, we were paying RDS right at $1,000 a ton, $987, $88 a ton. Our last bill for when they hauled the hopper from the packer, 4.5 tons, $550, $129 per ton is what we're paying now. So we reduced that expense by 90%. So
That's good.
it's not perfect. It's not perfect because somebody has to monitor it even on weekends, but it's working for us. So, not many people attended our council meeting Tuesday night. But one of the things that I wanted to bring to your attention that happened at that council meeting is council approved an ordinance amending Clifton Forge Town Code, Chapter 46, Environment, Article 2, Nuisances. I've got copies of this amended code up here if anybody wants to take it with them. And basically what it does on nuisance properties, once we notify them by certified mail, and we know that they have been notified, or we can produce proof that we sent a notification to the last known address of the owner of record at the Commissioner of Revenue's office. We no longer have to wait for a court order to clean that property up. They have 30 days to appeal the decision of the code enforcer. That appeal comes to me. I'll make the decision whether to enforce his code restrictions or give them more time. Depending on the situation, we're going to enforce the code to the letter of the code. And that way we're taking the opportunity for the judge to say you have 60 days or 90 days to continue. The last case Brad took to court, the judge asked the individual, how much property do you need how much time do you need to clean your property up? He said 2 weeks. The judge says, I'm going to give you 60 days. That puts us behind the 8 ball. We've cut that out. Council approved this amendment unanimously Tuesday night. So as soon as Jeff, where you at, Jeff? And Taylor gets to town hall and signs it, this will go into effect, and this will be how we're going to enforce the nuisance codes from here on out.
Yay!
I'm going to show you a picture. I don't know if you can see it really well. I hope you can. Can you see these buildings? You recognize these buildings? Can everybody see them? Pass it around. The picture you're looking at is the old gas station in front of Town Hall and the big building in the first building in the row of that block going down Main Street. We've been desperately trying to get something done with those buildings on that block for how long? Years. Well, I can tell you, as of yesterday, the town of Clifton Forge has a contract of purchase on those buildings. And the reason that the town has a contract of purchase on those buildings, and Maria, I'm stealing a little bit of thunder now, so I'm sorry. We have an opportunity while those buildings are in our control to apply for DHCD funding, grant funding, for feasibility studies for those properties, stabilization money for those buildings to put new roofs on them, fix the drainage problems, and make them in a much more desirable state for a new owner. And we intend to immediately turn those properties over. We're not going to keep them. We're not going to manage them. We're not going to run them. We're going to purchase them, improve them, transfer them to a new owner. Now, we have some hurdles to overcome before we get there, but we've already started that process too. We have the application on file with the Allegheny Foundation right now for the funds to purchase those two buildings. If the funding through the Allegheny Foundation goes through like we hope it will go through, once we sell those properties to the new owners, we will be able to keep that grant money as reinvestment money to move to the next blighted building and the next project to do the exact same thing with. Little steps. Little steps.
So y'all can sell those buildings individually, or it's gonna be a package deal?
We'll sell the individuals and individually of each other. Bobby, you made me lose my train of thought here, buddy. So, you know, we're working on that. Maria is going to share even bigger news on that front with you in just a few minutes. And it's probably news that only 2 or 3 people in this room know about. So without me talking anymore, it is really with great pleasure that I want to introduce to you David Hill and Maria Saxton of Hill Studios in Roanoke, who have agreed and entered into an open-ended contract with the town of Clifton Forge to help us evaluate and redevelop our economic and community development plans to move forward. And I asked Maria today, I said, you know, do you have these types of agreements with other communities? She said, yes, we do, but usually it's a job here, a job there. She said, this time, we came out of the gate running, and now it's been just one job after the other. So that's what we need, and that's what we want.